Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Daytona International Speedway for tonight's Daytona 200 here in the Pit Pass Network ARCA series. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me tonight, as always, is Wyatt Knadle. Wyatt, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Man, I'm doing really good. Coming off of last week's road course race, we're going to come to arguably the most famous track in all of stock car racing, and we have a big field tonight, so it's going to be a really good show.
Absolutely. We're just shy of 40 cars here tonight on the racetrack here at Daytona, which is a fantastic field for us. As you can see tonight, ambient temperature out there is 70 degrees. Track relatively cool at 72 degrees Fahrenheit. A little bit of wind, 10 miles per hour. And tonight's race format for you here, we are running 80 laps, no stages, and we have given these guys a big supply of tires with 6 sets apiece. As we take a look here, qualifying in the late stages, a minute to go. It's currently Chris Wright on the pole with Trey Holmes in his series debut, currently second. Michael Hossack up in third. Wyatt, actually, as Josh Personette jumps up there, Michael Hossack down to fourth. Joe Francis fifth, Brandon Key, Brandon Ultra, Jordan Owens, Jay Kaner, and Hunter Smith, your current top 10. So lots of great names throughout the field, as we are just under 1 minute to 1 minute to grid here. Why don't we go ahead and make some early predictions as to, first off, how the race is going to go. Let's take a prediction, Wyatt, on how many caution flags we're going to see tonight.
Okay, well, the true race fan in me wants to say there's not going to be a lot, so we can be having the most green flag action for this race. I'm also a realist, so I have to say we're probably going to be pushing, based on this series, I think we're going to be around 10.
I'm going to go a little bit lower. I'm going to say we'll see about 7 caution flags tonight. We do have, I believe, our biggest field of the season, as qualifying has just ended here. It is Chris Wright on the pole. We'll take a look at the starting grid, and then we'll go ahead and look at making our race picks here, Wyatt, as we'll pull up the qualifying results on the screen. Chris Wright on the pole with Trey Eidson second there alongside Wright on the front row. Just behind them, Trey Holmes and Josh Personette. Michael Hossack, great qualifying run in 5th there. Harrison Tallon 6th. Daniel Martinez there in 7th. Joe Francis 8th. And a row of Brandons there. Brandon Key and Brandon Ultra rounding out the top 10. Why don't you take us through the next 10 here?
Yes, sir. Starting in 11th tonight, we have Robert Smith, Jordan Owens in 12th, Jay Kaner, Hunter Smith, Brent Jones in 15th, Robert Higgins in 16th, Justin Sumner, David Dunwoody, Jess Story, and rounding out the top 20 is Ethan Stanley.
Just outside the top 20, we do find the 7 machine of Ray Bracey alongside everyone's favorite driver, Michael Goodman. Just behind them in row number 12 is Rory Collins and Mark Murphy. And Mark Rubilas making his debut tonight, starting in the 25th position alongside our friendly British friend here, William White, starting 26. Just behind them, Craig Arvanites and Dylan Thomas, as well as Jesse Rasmus and Christopher Paff, rounding out the top 30. Why don't you walk us through the rest of the field here?
All right, Mark Keeler is going to start 31st tonight. David Carpenter 32nd, and then the remaining drivers did not put down a qualifying lap. Cameron Rich in 33rd, Braxton DeWeese in 34th, Brandon Zimmerman 35th, Casey Hatch in 36th, Joey Chapman 37th, and Will Shack in 38th.
38 car field, as we do see the field now leaving the pit lane. Chris Wright will lead them behind the pace car here. Everyone else taking a minute to get there, but here they come now, as we do see the field working their way onto the racetrack. We'll have one pace lap here as we work our way towards the green flag. And as we do work towards the green flag here, Wyatt, of course, we will see a couple of EOL penalties due to a lack of the proper contingency banners here in the series. I see Harrison Talon, Trey Holmes falling towards the back, as is Mark Murphy, Mark Robilis, I do believe Mark Keeler as well, and Joey Chapman. So just before we get going green here, halfway down the back straightaway, Wyatt, who is your pick to take home the victory here tonight at Daytona?
Oh man, it's always tough every week to try and guess correctly.
Just an update, caution has been extended just as we cycle through the EOL penalties here.
But going back to my pick tonight, he runs pretty good on these plate tracks, and I'm always for a little bit of an underdog. I'm going to go with Brent Jones tonight to be tonight's race winner at Daytona.
Taking a look at Brent Jones, looks like he's going to roll off in the 13th position tonight. Going to be interesting to follow Brent all night long, see what he can do as he works his way towards the front of the pack, as we do see Brent Jones there in the number 51 machine. I am also going to go along the lines of a underdog here, as I am going to take for the win this evening. Ooh, this is tough, Wyatt, as this is a super speedway. I'm going to go along the same lines as Brent Jones. I'm going to go a little bit further back right there. Michael Goodman is my pick to take home the victory here tonight at Daytona. We see him starting up on the high line there. It'll be interesting to see what Michael Goodman can do in tonight's race. Lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car as we get set to go green here. Just half a track remaining of pacing, and then we will get going.
I was starting to think you might have read my mind, because I was actually choosing between Goodman and Jones for my pick here tonight, and I chose Brent. So, great minds think alike, and hopefully one of us is right, just for the sake of being right, but it's anybody's game tonight.
Absolutely anyone's game on these super speedways. You could start absolutely dead last, such as a Joe Francis or a Robert Higgins, and find yourself in victory lane as the night progresses. But looks like the pace car's about to take the sharp left-hand turn onto pit road. We'll send it down to Barney the flagman to get us underway here in just a moment, as you see the field coming off of turn 4. That green flag standing very high. I was about to call it a green flan. I don't know what that is.
I think you mean flan.
As the green flag is in the air, Chris Wright will lead the field to the green flag. There we see the 97 of Eidson on the high side. Here is Michael Hossack on the bottom in the 24. Dana Martinez just behind him, and just above Martinez there we do see the 18 of Josh Personette. And Ro Brandon's just behind him with Key and Ultra.
Man, one thing to look out for here tonight is these cars, they don't do very well with the bumping. These bumpers are pretty high off the ground, and you get under there a little too much, the back end or the back tires will lift off the ground and spin the car sideways. So we got to keep an eye on that, as we see these guys doing a pretty good job not pushing yet. Got to imagine later in the race we might see a little bumping, and that's where it might get a little sketchy.
Yeah, that's a great point by you, Wyatt. You got to be careful for the bumping here as the field enters the tri-oval for the first time here. We are going to start lap number 2 of the event. It is Trey Eidson currently out front. He had a bit of a push entering the tri-oval there, was able to pull away just a brief second, as Chris Wright now has the lead, help from Michael Hossack. So nice job by Hossack here early on, as well as he was able to take advantage of a great starting spot to work his way up.
Yeah, and Trey Eidson does a really good job there, getting that push from Joshua Personette, getting up in front and blocking that bottom line. Now we'll have to see if the 45 can regain that momentum for him, but they look a little too separated right now for their liking.
Yeah, separation is not a great thing, especially when you are in a car such as this ARCA car where you really can't push as much as you might like. Of course, you can from time to time give a little bump on the straightaways, but the way these cars are set up, just kind of building off of the point you made earlier, Wyatt, the noses of these cars are almost like a wedge. So they'll get underneath the rear end of these cars and really just lift those rear tires up off the racing surface and can cause these cars to be really uneasy.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, one guy I want to highlight here, because you're actually on him right now, Chris Wright has done a phenomenal job this season. You know, 2 second-place finishes in back-to-back weeks, I believe. And, you know, coming into race 4 here, he's flirting with the points lead, if not has it. Done a great job starting on the pole tonight. He is going to be one to watch for sure.
He does not have the pole, or not the pole, the points lead. That would be Ethan Stanley, of course, 2 victories in the opening 3 rounds of the series. But just up front, a brief lead change here. Josh Personette takes the lead with help from Brandon Ultra. But yeah, Chris Wright has had himself a great season so far. Second, and I believe 5th is the position I want to say. Maybe even 4th last week at Montreal for Chris Wright. But he is 6 points out of the points lead. And as of right now, Chris Wright would indeed be the points leader in the series. I see a car on the apron.
I think that's the 29 of Jess Story.
I believe that to be Jess Story. He has remerged onto the track, so these guys continuing on. You know, I point this out every week, Wyatt. That's a stunning paint scheme on the number 7 of Ray Bracey.
Yeah, and I don't know if he paints those himself or not, but
I believe he does.
Yeah, somebody needs to pay that man some money and get themselves some good paint schemes, because he knows what he's doing there, as you see that beautiful 7 car.
You know, it's such a shame that more people that do design work on iRacing don't really get the opportunity when it comes to the real world paint schemes that we see out on the NASCAR series and various other series. Because if you have someone, I'm going to go back to it, if you have someone like Ray Bracey putting together a design like this for iRacing, I can just imagine what he'd be able to do with an opportunity in the real world. So I think if I'm managing a real world team, I'm taking a look at these guys, because that is a stunning paint scheme.
Yeah, it really is. And we have a couple great designers that kind of float around in Elite Racing League that
Absolutely.
they're pretty known. And they need a little more exposure than what they get.
Just our group alone, Wyatt, yourself, and myself, we have some great connections. Justin Vandermeer with JV Designs does some fantastic work. He does most of my paint schemes. He does some of yours as well. And of course, another admin here in this series, Jonathan Cutlip with JD Designs, does some great work as well. You see Matthew Weeks' cars out there. I believe he does Tate Lytle's cars as well. Quite a few cars throughout the field, as we just see a bit of shuffling back here. But be sure to check these guys out, man. They do some great work and deserve a lot more attention than they'd get.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. You know, looking through this field, though, very calm. Very calm. We thought we were going to see a lot of calm last week, and we didn't. You know, coming here this week, we weren't really sure what we were going to expect to start this thing off, but it seems like these guys are pretty happy to not push too hard and, you know, try and turn some laps out. So it's been a relatively slow start when it comes to action.
Absolutely. You know, just looking from this turn 3 camera, just too wide. Everyone pretty much set in their lines, hanging out, trying to do the best they can to make it to the end. And that's something in the, you know, in the Truck Series, in the Xfinity Series this week, we've kind of seen issues with that, with a lot of incidents as William White gets a little loose there. Great.
He actually got
save
contact
by
from behind.
William White. That was incredibly close to being a big one right there, Wyatt.
Yeah, it was, and I think I believe that's the 94?
94 machine, Justin Sumner, with
Looks like
the initiated contact there.
Yeah, and it looked like one of those situations where, especially going through that tri-oval, you know, it's not a good spot to put your nose underneath the car in front of you. And luckily, I think the apron being a little bit lifted off the track kind of helped him keep that thing on the track and not sideways. You know, another guy this week, throughout all these Daytona races we've been running, this is now the third one of the week, third day in the row. Oh, as we see the 0.5 in the wall, that's going to make him lose a lot of momentum. He must have hit that pretty dang hard. We'll see if he'll be able to stay on the draft. That's Casey Hatch in the 0.5. You know, one guy I wanted to point it out who has done a phenomenal job this week running up front a majority of the race. The finishes haven't necessarily turned out for him, per se, but Joshua Personette in that 18 car has done a great job as he's battling for the lead here still, as he has from lap 3 on or so. You know, we've seen him up in the top 10, up in the top 5, I think every race this week for a majority of the race, and then he either gets caught up in something or, you know, something happens out of his favor. And he's just showing again, he's a great driver at these kind of tracks, and he understands how they work well. And he's actually getting a push back to the lead now, Robert.
Yeah, Brandon Ultra doing a great job pushing here tonight. Currently working with Josh Personette to get him back towards the front here, battling for the race lead. But yeah, Josh Personette has done a great job all week long. You know, I know his finishes are not where he'd want them to be, as it looks like Trey Holmes may have had an issue there. We may have lost Trey Holmes, actually, as I just noticed he bounced off the screen. But, you know, looking back even on Sunday, Josh Personette, he did not finish well at all. He finished like 20-something, but he was able to take advantage of his performance throughout the event, the stage points that he picked up, and is tied for 4th in the points over there. So although the result might not have been there, the consistency throughout the event was, and that's something that Josh really needs to hone in on and take advantage of throughout the season. He's going to get those opportunities to compete for the victories. It's just, you know, unfortunately for him, he might have lost the battle, but I think Josh Personette's going to win the war at least once or twice this season.
Yeah, and it's very possible. You know, anything can happen at these kind of tracks, Daytona especially. And so we'll see how that plays out. You know, looking through this field here, there's still pretty side by side all the way through the field. You know, we had that issue with the 0.5 of Casey Hatch, and he looks to be flirting with losing the draft. I believe he's actually lost the draft now.
Yeah, Casey Hatch way back there by himself.
And I think Trey Holmes is on the verge of losing the draft as well. I know he's way
Trey
back
Holmes
there.
is right here with the field, running right behind Christopher Paff. So they're just at the back of the pack. I'm not sure if Trey had a blinking issue or what the issue was there, but he does remain with the field. So Trey Holmes had a little bit of luck there. As we see Trey Eidson must have gotten a great push by Chris Wright. We see some cars just jockeying to the apron there, falling back a little bit, but Trey Eidson, Josh Personette battling for the race lead. Brandon Ultra, Chris Wright right there, as well as Michael Hosek. He's been up in the top 5 all night long so far. I mean, we're only 14 laps in, but still to remain up there from the start, that shows a little bit of skill out of that 24 machine.
Yeah, and if you look, Chris Wright there, second on the bottom, is doing a fantastic job of just keeping the most minuscule buffer between him and the car in front of him, Trey Eidson, to give them those pushes that they need down the straightaways and whatnot, and keep the momentum up to keep the 18 away from the side of that red car, Trey Eidson. You know, Robert, I'm not too sure how long they're going to stay this calm, but this is a big shift from last week at Montreal.
Absolutely. These guys are doing a great job here tonight. Obviously, super speedway racing can be a bit of an interesting thing, you know. Not everyone's good at it. Not everyone has the patience to do well at it. But, you know, these guys are showing that they can do it. We're almost a quarter of the way into the event, and we have been green all race long so far. And Wyatt, just taking a brief look through the field, trying to find our biggest mover thus far, brings us back to the 19th position. He's gained 18 spots so far. Driver of the number 6 machine, Joey Chapman, doing a fantastic job here tonight. I do want to give a quick shout out to Joey as well. He got some great news today. Picked himself up a new job in the field that he's been looking for. So congratulations to Joey there. As I think we do not have an incident, thankfully, but a lot of shuffling just happened in the midfield.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of cars actually shift from the bottom to the top and back and forth. I wonder if some guys are starting to get a little impatient. We actually see 3 wide back there for about, I don't know. I think that's right around Joey Chapman.
Yeah,
kind of an interesting spot.
B. Braxton DeWeese was up in the middle, went between Ray Bracey and Dave Carpenter there. Everyone was able to get back into position. No harm done there. We do have a battle for the race lead. Josh Personette getting a push from Brandon Ultra once again. On the bottom, we do have the 97 of Eidson, the 42 of Wright. Those guys continue to battle on the bottom. The top has a little bit more help, though, with Daniel Martinez there in the 5th position on the high side. On the bottom, though, Michael Hosek now getting a bit of a push as they go by the lap car of Jess Story. We'll follow Jess Story as he falls back through the field here. Just make sure that we do not have any incidents, which we did see on Sunday night in the Truck Series when we came up on some lap cars. Things got a little bit hairy as you see 3 wide action here. Looks to be the 94 going to the middle there. 7 of Ray Bracey on the bottom. That 94 is indeed Justin Sumner, as it looks like the field will get by without too much hassle.
Yeah, and it looks like we might have an issue out of... Oh, there's actually contact. Oh, we're wrecking here. The 7's involved.
Big wreck. Multiple incidents, actually, as I'm seeing Mark Keeler involved, Jess Story involved, Robert Smith involved. I believe that maybe Harrison Talon may have gotten a piece of that. Will Shack involved. We'll take a look on the Mark J. Rabilas photography replay machine. And was Mark Rabilas involved in that? I don't think so. But we'll take a look on the replay machine and see what happened here. Looks like it started just a little bit further up here. I'm seeing Braxton DeWeese, and looks to be Ray Bracey. May have had some help from the 94 of Justin Sumner. Wyatt, what did you mention pre-race that just happened right there?
You know, getting under these cars, that back end lifts up and it just shoots them sideways, but that 80, I don't know if 88's the actual number on the scoring, but the 88 car in front of them was quite a bit slower, and I'm not sure if he had an issue or not, and that's where that checkup actually occurred. And I think they were trying to compensate for that, and it ended up just going bad.
Unfortunate incident here. I want to back it up and just check on Harrison Talon. Yeah, the 88 car right there. I'm not actually sure who is driving that car, as we do not have an 88 on our sheet here.
I will let you know in just a second.
Yeah, if you don't mind on that, Wyatt, let's ride on board with Harrison Talon. He was just behind this incident. I want to see if he ended up involved in it. We see Cameron Rich as well. Harrison was clipped. I think Cameron Rich just made it through. Yeah, let's watch this onboard here, Wyatt, of Cameron Rich. Sees the wreck developing, cars going every which way. Look at Ray Bracey. He's jacked up right there on the hood of the 30, and Cameron Rich just squeaks by.
And I'm pretty sure he did the exact same thing last night in the Xfinity Series, didn't he? Cameron Rich, in regards of avoiding a big one right in front of him?
Cameron Rich had many incidents around him last night, and just an update here. The whole field has come down pit road with the exception of Brandon Ultra and Joey Chapman. So everyone else has pit. We have multiple cars still on pit road right now. We do have Harrison Talon, Robert Smith on pit road, Rory Collins, Ray Bracey, Christopher Paff, Will Shack, Braxton Deweese, and Jess Story. We are going to take a quick commercial break here on the Elite Racing Network. This is the Daytona 200 in the Pit Pass Network ARCA series on Elite. That was our friends at TA Services, one of our great premier partners here in the Elite Racing League. Of course, we are thankful for all of our premier partners, including Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg is the marketing department for small businesses, small business owners. Blue Egg is your biggest fan. And our newest premier partner here at Elite Racing League, it is Worldwide Technology Raceway. Worldwide Technology Raceway is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri, and close to the Gateway Arch. Featuring a 1.25-mile oval housing NASCAR, as well as a 2-mile infield road course used by Trans Am, SCCA, and the Porsche Club of America, as well as a quarter-mile NHRA drag strip, which hosts the NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series Midwest Nationals event. And of course, their state-of-the-art karting facility. Check out Worldwide Technology Raceway today. And of course, this is the Pit Pass Network ARCA series. Pit Pass Network is your new home for all things NASCAR. From news to reviews and interviews, check out pitpassnetwork.com today.
Thank you to our sponsors. Going back to that last caution there, we were wondering who the 88 was. The 88 is actually the number 31 on our scoring of Craig Arvanites. I'm not sure what happened to him, but he was checked up a little bit, which in turn could have potentially caused an issue, but we're back under green here.
As we see the green flag is in the air, we're actually going to ride on board almost immediately with Josh Personette. Personette currently third, the second car on the inside lane, coming up to the rear end of Brandon Ultra. A little bit of a swap from earlier where we did see Ultra pushing Personette. On the outside of them now is Joey Chapman making his series debut with help from Daniel Martinez. Martinez has had his fair share of disappointment this speed weeks, but we know that he is a very strong competitor, and we're going to be watching for Martinez to really show his strength here tonight as we do get towards the halfway point in this. Of course, we are just a quarter of the way through the event on lap number 23. Current race leader is showing as Joey Chapman at the line. Brandon Ultra currently just behind him. Martinez, Personette up there as well as the 97 of Trey Eidson, the 33 of Brandon Key, Chris Wright in the 42, Michael Hosek in the 24, William White in the 43, and David Dunwoody in the 28, rounding out the top 10. Nice to see a wide variety of drivers up here with a wide variety of experience in the Elite Racing League. As you know, we have guys like Daniel Martinez that have been around for a while, Joey Chapman going into his sophomore year, Josh Personette, I believe he's a day one guy here. You know, it's really cool to see a variety of guys in this series competing, as we see Brent Jones in the middle back there. See what's going on with him. He gets back to 2 wide, thankfully.
Yeah, and you mentioned Joey Chapman right now. He's battling for that lead. Started 37th tonight. He's the biggest mover, as we mentioned earlier. At the time, he was running 18th. Now he's in the lead. So, or fighting for the lead at least. So, it'll be really interesting. That tells you 23 laps. He went up 36 spots.
That definitely is a big difference for Joey Chapman. Currently up 35 spots, like you mentioned, Wyatt. As we head back down to the racetrack, Brandon Ultra just now edging out that 6 machine of Chapman for the race lead as they come towards the line. They are side by side. Joey Chapman will lead that lap here, lap 26 of 80 in the event. We'll take a look a little bit further back. We do see Jay Kaner in the 9, running on the high side there, just behind Cameron Rich in the 17. Ethan Stanley, our 2-time race winner in the series, way back in traffic here, running 19th, working his way up a little bit as we see Brent Jones getting cycled back. We're 3 wide now.
Wow, look at that run, too. Just 2 cars there. And there's contact. Oh, and they're wrecking. Oh, Trey Holmes involved, the 17.
Cameron Rich does not miss that one, as we caught that at the right moment, Wyatt.
Yeah, we certainly did. And, man, it almost looked like someone on the track there. I couldn't tell who it was, but it almost looked like they didn't know that they were 3 wide.
As we work to pull this up on the Robilis replay machine, we see Ethan Stanley pull it down to pit road. Let's check this out on the Mark J. Robilis, robilisphoto.com replay machine. We do see Cameron Rich in the middle there, Ethan Stanley on the high side as they go by. I believe that to be possibly Michael Goodman. No, that is not. I'm not sure who that car is, the 73. There's a couple guys running some different numbers here. Brent Jones, I think, just missed that wreck there, Wyatt.
No, he was actually in it there. He got some nose
Brent
damage.
was in that wreck.
But we need to get an onboard view of the 69. I believe that's Mark Murphy. I couldn't see the
board with Mark Murphy here in a second. There's so many marks here, Wyatt. I got to find the right one.
He does a masterful job of checking up for this right in front of him, and I don't know if he gets collected at the end, but...
Looks like he may have gotten a little bit of a door tap by Dave Carpenter. Nothing too major. Mark Murphy, heck of a drive there, getting through that one. As out front, it is Brandon Ultra once again, your race leader. Caution number 2 here on lap 28, Wyatt. We were hoping to see more battling in the tri-oval, but we did not make it there under green.
Yeah, that tri-oval really can get you too, especially as the run goes on. But, we see Brandon Ultra in the lead, and he is a former Xfinity winner, or Grand National winner, I should say, for the Elite Racing League with a walk-off win at Daytona. The race before the playoffs started, making himself one of the drivers in the playoffs last season.
Yeah, Brandon Ultra, he showed his strength from the day that he showed up in the Super Late Model Series, the Racing America Super Late Model Series that we ran last off-season, and that kind of translated into some pretty good runs in the Grand National Series, as well as the other series that he takes part in, but he just had no luck in taking a victory until we visited a super speedway, and Brandon Ultra found his way to victory lane.
Yeah, and he's done a really good job here tonight. I'm looking at the top 5, and top 5 is full of, experienced and seasoned elite drivers.
Yeah, looking at the top 5 right now, Brandon Ultra, Josh Personette, Daniel Martinez, Brandon Key, and this guy, Michael Hossack. You know what, Wyatt? Let's talk about this guy for a second, okay? He has shown a ton of strength this season here, or I guess through the first 3 races in the Pit Pass Network ARCA series. He's not a guy, Michael Hossack, that has the opportunity to run up front so often in the top series of Elite, but he gets the opportunity when it comes to the ARCA series to show what he can do, and he's finished in or around the top 10 in all of the races, I believe, so far this season. He's run top 5 the entire night so far tonight, as we are approaching halfway, about 12 laps away from that. So shout out to Michael Hossack, really showing what this kind of series is about. It is a development series. It is an opportunity for these guys to earn their stripes and show these other drivers in Elite what they can do. And that's exactly what Michael Hossack has done. So great job by Michael Hossack in the number 24 machine.
Yeah, and like you said, and you nailed it perfectly, he's done a fantastic job this season, showing his capabilities, and, you know, he has flashes of really great speed, and this season, especially in this Pit Pass Network ARCA series, has done a really good job. You know, another guy right behind him, William Wyatt, last week, unfortunate incident, leading the race, makes a little contact, battles back to a top 10. You know, he's here in 7th right now. I know we're still early in this race. There's a lot that can happen, but he's doing a really good job keeping that car clean so far. And I believe he had a scare earlier in this race, so he did a great job saving that thing in the tri-oval.
Yeah, what's a super speedway without a little scare? As we hand it down to Barney the flagman, we are about to get going green here once again at the Daytona International Speedway for the Daytona 200 in the Pit Pass Network ARCA Series. Out front, it is Brandon Ultra. He got a jump there, but sometimes on these super speedways, Wyatt, that is not what you want to have.
Yeah, and I think he's actually going to luck out pretty well here. I think Hunter Smith in the 017 actually jumped to the bottom and separated that top side out pretty well, and he's actually going to work his way up to... Oh no, he couldn't clear himself to get up there. Daniel Martinez is going to take the lead with pushing from Joshua Personette right now. And those guys are very familiar with each other, friends off the track. I think they might be teammates tonight. I'm not too sure.
So these guys are not teammates, but they are affiliates, of course. Josh Personette driving for one of the newest teams in Elite, Mountain Man Motorsports, and Daniel Martinez, of course, driving for Fueled Up Racing. Affiliated teams, Brandon Key also part of that Mountain Man Motorsports group, as he actually strands Josh Personette on the high side. And
yeah.
As you see, David Dunwoody, Wyatt, up to 4th place now on the outside. Things are getting a little racy at the front. I'm a bit surprised here.
Yeah, I think it's a little too early for what we were expecting, at least. But to have as clean of a race start, as we're actually 3 wide there, and I believe is that the 7 car up there on the top after being involved in that wreck?
That is indeed the 7 of Ray Bracy, right there on the outside of the 6 car of Joey Chapman and the 43 of William White. As we see Chapman jump up to the high side to work with Ray Bracy here. And the 30, I believe that's a 30 machine. Yes, that is Dylan Thomas, showing his 25 on the scoring sheet tonight. Not sure what happened there, but we'll get that sorted out for next week, as Dylan Thomas currently running behind his teammate Joey Chapman.
Yeah, and we're starting to see some drivers switch around, but one thing that's been pretty constant is we've seen that 83, the 18, the 42 all up front most of the night here. And I believe that's Brent Jones up there on the high side and the 4th car in line.
Yes, that is Brent Jones up behind the 42 of Chris Wright. So Jones currently running 7th on that outside lane, battling with Michael Hossack, as you see him there on the bottom as we look out of the window net of that 51 machine. Brent Jones doing a great job as well. He's always one to watch on these super speedways. I believe he finished 3rd last season in the Daytona 500 in the Cup Series. I may be wrong there, but I do believe that is where we found Brent Jones, as we see a little bit of dicey racing up there.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if these guys are starting to think that the big one's already happened, and now it's go time, but the big one can happen multiple times in a race. We saw that last night in the Grand National Series. We saw it in the Truck Series on Sunday night.
Wyatt, anytime you think the big one has happened, a bigger one is usually right behind it.
Yeah, and you're exactly right there. We see quite a bit of separation now, and might have just been circumstantial as we see Ethan Stanley actually on pit road right now.
Ethan Stanley just leaving pit road now. He had an 8-minute visit to pit road to repair some damage. So this is huge for the likes of Chris Wright and Trey Eidson as they were battling Ethan Stanley for the points lead. Of course, Wright was 6 points back entering the race tonight. Eidson 9 points back, and both of them should easily gain that tonight should they be able to continue on in tonight's event.
Yeah, and the viewers at home may be wondering why that's so important with, assuming there's playoffs. Well, there's not in this series. We're doing purely regular season points throughout the whole thing, the old school way. And so that's going to be huge for those guys, like you mentioned.
As we ride on the roof cam here of Brandon Key, I did see him getting up on the rear bumper of the 18 of Josh Personette. And of course, that can be rather sketchy. Just an update, Ethan Stanley did just re-enter the pit lane. So I think his car may be a little too broken and he may be calling it a night here. But Josh Personette remains your race leader. But on the outside, we see David Dunwoody now leading that second lane. So heck of a drive by Dunwoody. He's getting a little bit of help from Chris Wright there. As you see Chris Wright all up on the gearbox of that number 28 machine.
Yeah, and Chris is really good at pushing at these kind of tracks. I think he'd rather be in the car getting pushed at the end, but right now I think he's pretty content to just kind of ride there and try and get his lane up to the front and pass those guys that have been doing really well on the bottom.
Yeah, you're seeing the different lanes here tonight and the different levels of success that they are experiencing. It can be really tough to pass in these ARCA cars. When it comes to the super speedway racing, everyone's sort of on even footing. You don't really have the skill advantage that you might see on a quarter-mile track or an intermediate, but on the super speedways, everyone has the same thing, and the draft really plays a huge part in this as well.
Yeah, and without being able to push as hard as these guys would like and as hard as you can in the other series, it makes it increasingly hard to get those runs, especially if these guys go 3 wide and whatnot. You're going to really need a lot of momentum in your line.
Just an update from race control. We are having a 6-lap rule here tonight, Wyatt. So if you find yourself 6 laps down or more, you will be out of the race. So officially out of the race now. Ethan Stanley, Trey Holmes, Cameron Rich, Christopher Paff, Will Shack, Braxton DeWeese, Jess Story, and Robert Higgins did not start tonight's event. But all of those drivers are officially out of the race. And Rory Collins is the last car on the lead lap. He's about a half lap down, it does appear. But he is still on the lead lap.
Yeah, and we see another car exit pit road here now. I couldn't quite catch a glimpse of who that was.
That was Will Shack, but this should quickly turn into a black flag from race control to send him back to the pits. We're jumbling here, Wyatt. Things are getting a little crazy as we're approaching the halfway point of today's event. We're going to head up to our Elite Racing Network chopper. This, of course, sponsored by you, Wyatt Knadle. You sponsor this chopper. There you go. I don't know where I was going with that. We do not have a chopper sponsor, but if you want to sponsor our chopper, hit us up today.
Yeah, and I think our friendly neighborhood Huckleberry is actually flying that thing here tonight.
Our friendly neighborhood Huckleberry.
Yes, he is. From Europe.
Yeah, he is over in England right now having some tea, having some crumpets. I mean, he might be having some sleep right now. It is almost 1:30 in the morning over in England, but You know, we do miss Dave Huckleberry around these parts right now.
Yes, we do, and you know, he might be asleep right now, but it looks like William White might have a supporter or two watching right now. I see in the chat they're rooting for the 43 tonight, so he's doing a great job, and he's got a pretty clean car. Good save earlier. Doing a really good job at this plate track.
How could you not cheer for that 43 of William White? Taking a look at the car, that is a beautiful livery on that 43. You see his sponsor on the side there, 213simware.com. I'm assuming you can head over there and buy yourself some William White gear. Support the driver out of England and really show him that you're a huge fan, as we see Chris Wright now taking the race lead. Now he has help from David Dunwoody. David Dunwoody doing a fantastic job tonight. Behind him, we see Brandon Key. So, very interesting lead pack now. Brent Jones pushing Josh Personette and Ray Bracy.
Yeah, I honestly thought Ray Bracy might have had a lot more damage than he really had from that incident.
Hatch as well, Wyatt. He was in a wreck earlier. So, very surprising to see.
Their team's brought some good cars tonight, that's for sure. And, you know, we're starting to see that back half of the pack creep back up here now. They're getting a little closer and a little closer. There's not as much room between cars back there. So I have a feeling things are starting to pick up slowly now that we've reached the halfway point. I think people are realizing how hard it is to get around these cars and thinking they need to make their moves a little earlier.
Absolutely, as we'll ride on board with a couple cars in the field tonight. We're currently on board with Brent Jones. We were just on board with Ray Bracy there. Both of these guys doing a phenomenal job. Jones up 11 spots from his starting position. Bracy up 15 spots. We're going to go a little bit further back to our biggest mover so far. That is Casey Hatch. He's up 29 spots from the start. Heck of a drive so far for the man known as Martin sometimes. Still not sure why he's known as Martin, but that's Casey, as they're going to go by Rory Collins. We mentioned him earlier, the 62 machine. We'll keep an eye on him. We're going to actually ride on board to see how scary it is as a lap car here at Daytona.
Yeah, and we almost had a little bit too close of a call there between some guys. Right outside, or right around the top 10, getting around him in the tri-oval. But, you know, it looks like everything's kind of settled down and everyone's able to make some moves past him.
We are past the halfway mark here at Daytona. It is Josh Personette currently leading over Chris Wright. Just behind them, their support cars, of course, David Dunwoody and Brent Jones. Brandon Key and Ray Bracy there. Daniel Martinez, Casey Hatch.
When we have contact. Oh, and they're wrecking in the back.
Dylan Thomas, Brandon Zimmerman.
I think we had an issue. I think
Murphy
there was an
involved.
issue.
There's old Murph Markey. He's not pitting very properly right now.
No, but he might make that thing look good. Kept it off the wall. That's what's important. But I think we had a car who was blinking in and out and actually lost their momentum, and that caused a stack up.
So we see old Harrison Talon right there involved in the wreck. Trey Eidson was involved. Mark Murphy, Dylan Thomas. I believe this may have actually started with the Trey Eidson machine. We'll take a look here. Eidson in that 97. No, it was an incident with Dylan Thomas, Jay Kaner. Mark Murphy got hooked there. Then it turned into Mark Keeler and Harrison Talon getting into each other. Whoever that was that just snuck through had one heck of a avoidance.
You know, Harrison Talon might have spun about 4 times in that sequence, but I don't think he hit anything.
That was the 94 of Justin Sumner that broke through there. We're going to ride on board with Sumner here. Taking a look, 94 of Sumner. You see the incident starting now, just ahead. There it goes. And he just squeaks his way through. Look at this. Look at this. What a job by Justin Sumner. You mentioned Harrison Talon, Wyatt. Do we want to ride on board with Harry?
It's going to be a fun little ride, but I think he kept it off the wall somehow, clipped Mark Murphy, And that's about all the damage I think he's going to have from
You
this
see
thing,
the incident
surprisingly.
right there. Dylan Thomas gets a little loose, gets into Jay Kaner. He gets hooked. I don't think we're worried about the wall in this incident, Wyatt. We'll see the
It'll be
incident develop right here. Again, Dylan Thomas a little loose into Kaner. Comes down the track, clips Mark Murphy. Murphy up into Kaner. Thomas spinning on the bottom. I believe Brandon Zimmerman gets into him. And then Harrison Talon gets hooked into the side of Mark Murphy. Sends Murphy up in the air. Jacks up the right front of Talon's car. And does avoid the wall, but there's definitely going to be damage on the Harrison Talon car.
Yeah, and from the view I was watching, it looked like a little less severe, but we'll see. These cars have been proven tough here tonight with with a couple guys, so he might be able to fix that and still be competitive here
Off
tonight.
of pit road, your top 10 now is Chris Wright, your race leader. Josh Personette in second. Brent Jones in third. Brandon Key fourth. David Dunwoody comes off pit road fifth. Daniel Martinez there in sixth. Ray Bracey in seventh. Mark Rubilis up to eighth now. Casey Hatch in ninth. And Brandon Ultra right where he started in the 10th position. Wyatt, we are 34 laps to go here at Daytona. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be That was our friends over at TA Services, a great premier partner here at the Elite Racing Network and the Elite Racing League. We also have to give a shout out to our friends at Blue Egg Marketing, the marketing department for small businesses. Blue Egg Marketing helps businesses punch above their weight class. Check out Blue Egg Marketing today. And our newest premier partner, Worldwide Technology Raceway, formerly known as Gateway International Raceway and Gateway Motorsports Park, a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri, close to the beautiful Gateway Arch, featuring a 1.25-mile oval, a 2-mile road course, a quarter-mile drag strip, and a state-of-the-art karting facility. Be sure to check out Worldwide Technology Raceway today. Get your tickets for the upcoming season over on their website. Let them know Elite Racing League sent you, and have a great time when you visit their track, of course. And, of course, this is the Pit Pass Network ARCA series, so pitpassnetwork.com is your new home for all things NASCAR. From news to reviews and interviews, check out pitpassnetwork.com today. I know they're working on some great pieces for the upcoming season, including a new podcast that should launch in a few weeks and some high-profile interviews. Of course, Chris Wright right here running the Pit Pass Network car. Just recently, about a month or two ago, got to interview the legendary Mario Andretti, so be sure to check that out on the website. A great audio interview by Chris Wright, and of course, Pit Pass Network, your number one stop for all things NASCARs. We are going to hand it back down to the flagman. We're going to get going green once again here, Wyatt. Restart number 4 of the day, coming up to lap 49.
Yeah, 30 laps to go here as we see the green flag is underway. Chris Wright gets a great start. Joshua Personette not as much. But 30 to go now. When do you think we're going to see drivers start to make some drastic moves to get to the front?
Unlike the higher levels of NASCAR, such as the Next Gen, the truck, the Xfinity car, you really have to make your move a little bit earlier here, because these cars are not as powerful. As we see Brent Jones making a move right now. Old Jones put on the big boy pants on this restart. He came down, got 4 tires, fuel, and some pants. As we actually see Casey Hatch
through the middle.
I think he got some pants too, as here he comes. Here comes Daniel Martinez, Brandon Key, as they shuffle out the Jones and Bracey machines. Josh Personette got trapped a little bit further back, but I was not expecting this so early here, Wyatt.
No, and that run was incredible that they got. I think those cars spread out just enough to lose the momentum up front. Really helped the 0-5 of Casey Hatch, and Brandon Key followed him right on through.
Yeah, Casey Hatch found some great allies in the field. He found himself Brandon Key. He found Daniel Martinez. And now you see them working with Brent Jones as well as Ray Bracey. I think that high line might be a little more hooked up than the bottom. On the bottom, you do see Chris Wright and David Dunwoody, as well as the 97 of Trey Eidson. So Eidson moved his way up the track as well. He was kind of running towards the rear of the field for the most part tonight, and he figured he needs to come and play now.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys are thinking, let's get up there so we don't have to worry about it later, like the 0-5, for instance. At one point we saw him all the way outside of the top 30 at the start of this race after making contact with the wall, and now he's up here fighting for the lead alongside Chris Wright.
Just the fact that we see some of these guys at the front of the field that we really didn't see earlier, such as Casey Hatch. I mean, he's up 35 spots from the start of the race. He could only start 2 spots further down in the field as Casey Hatch trying to work the lines a little bit there, see what he can do to build a bit of a lead. I think we're about to have an incident out back as we have a car in the wall.
Why?
Does appear to be Brandon Ultra. He's going to get back in line. Everyone seems to be okay. Harrison Talent, we thought he was in the incident earlier, a little bit worse than it was. He's still out there. He's running okay. At the front, it is still Casey Hatch out front with help from Brandon Key. On the bottom, you see Chris Wright and David Dunwoody. Daniel Martinez and Trey Eidson up there as well. Hunter Smith, Brent Jones, Joe Francis, and Joey Chapman. Your top 10. Just outside the top 10, we see Mark Rabilis and Ray Bracey there with Josh Personette. Personette fell back a fair bit from that restart. Maybe just trying to settle in for a little bit, let these guys get their intensity as high as they want it to be, let it blow, and then kind of cruise his way through, as we often see on these super speedways, Wyatt.
Yeah, this battle for the lead, too, is really starting to pick up. These guys are starting to get closer to the back bumper, those lead cars in both lanes, and it is increasingly getting aggressive as we see Casey Hatch still fighting for the lead. One lane can't prevail over the other right now.
That's exactly it, as we're going to ride on board with David Dunwoody. We see him on the bottom here pushing Chris Wright, trying to do whatever he can as they exit the tri-oval here. We'll see a little bit of a push by Key onto the back of Casey Hatch. Casey Hatch, of course, running a bit of a camouflage scheme there. Of course, Casey is a active member of the military, so thank you to Casey and his brothers and sisters for all their service and everything that they do. I could not even imagine going through as much as they do at all, Wyatt.
No, you're exactly right. I've known Casey for quite a long time. He's been one of my good friends, and what are the odds tonight that he just says, yeah, I'm going to go into Daytona, out of nowhere and pick up a win just to say I can?
Well, now he can't because you just cursed him. Hopefully, for Casey's sake, he is able to get it done. But, of course, there is still a lot of racing left. 26 to go. Next time we come by, you will see the scoring tower switch over to show us 25 to go, which is one of the favorite moments of our Cup Series commentator, Alex Ned. Another great friend of yours, Wyatt.
Yeah, he also is. And I've got a lot of good friends in this race here tonight, and a lot of them are doing pretty good. So it's good to see that a lot of my brothers can go out on track and lay it down and have some good runs.
Absolutely, as we ride on board with Michael Goodman. Goodman driving the number 44 machine here tonight, doing a fantastic job. Currently running 18th just below him, we do see Brandon Zimmerman, one of our newcomers here in the Elite Racing League, driving the Roasted Gems Coffee number 65 machine. Saw some exciting news out of him today. Released 2 new blends of coffee, so be sure to check that out and support our drivers here in Elite. And back up front, of course, Chris Wright, Casey Hatch battling side by side with David Dunwoody and Brandon Key. Continuing here as we saw David Dunwoody get a little bit wiggly there.
Yeah, and as you see now in these corners, as Casey Hatch is actually going to take over the bottom lane, leave that top side open to Brandon Key, getting pushed by Daniel Martinez. They're starting to get a little closer in the corners. I'm not sure how strong the side draft is in these cars here tonight, but it almost seemed to upset David Dunwoody a little bit coming off turn 4 on the previous lap.
Absolutely, as we do see these guys side by side. Nobody really trying anything too crazy at this point. Just trying to make it through to the finish, as these guys will come off turn 4 and enter the tri-oval here, Wyatt. Coming to 23 laps to go here in today's event, the Daytona 200 here on the Elite Racing Network. Of course, we're still really early in Speed Weeks, Wyatt. I did just want to mention, of course, Sunday night we saw Corey Abbott pick up the victory in the Truck Series. Last night it was Josh Robin in the Grand National Series. Of course, tonight's race still underway. Tomorrow night on Elite Racing Network, we're going to kick off that broadcast at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. It's going to be single car qualifying for next week's Daytona 500, as well as our Daytona duels. So if you just want to check out the duels, you can come on board at around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But if you want to check out all of qualifying, be sure to tune in at 7 o'clock. You'll see myself and Wyatt out on track, putting down our qualifying attempts. And then Thursday night, we head to the Auto Club Speedway, a little break from Daytona, for the series opener of the Classic Series, Warriors for Peace Classic Series. That is the Lotus 49 car that's going to be out on track, replacing our existing open wheel series that we had. Unfortunately cannot run an open wheel series with the previous car this season, but just a quick update here. Josh Personette coming up 3 wide through the middle.
Yeah, and I think he's thinking, hey, I don't like being back here. It's a little more unpredictable than what I've been used to this whole race, and he's got Harrison Talon's help behind him and William White as well, but looks like Harrison Talon's going to be stuck 3 wide with Ray Bracey.
It got a little close there as Ray Bracey trying to find his home, gets into the outside wall. Ray Bracey going to fall back a little bit further, just looking for an opportunity to get down into the field. We are coming to 20 laps to go this time as these drivers head down the back straightaway into turn number 3.
Yeah, we're starting to see more guys creep up towards the front now that haven't been there a lot of the night. You know, William White's been flirting with that top 10, and he's still flirting with it, but he dropped back for a little while. Harrison Talon, after being involved in the last wreck, I believe he's running 12th or so right now. And Joshua Personette, after losing quite a few spots, is starting to work his way back up into the top 10 now. He is really putting on a great performance tonight for himself and for his team. And, you know, we mentioned earlier he hasn't had the finishes he's necessarily wanted here the Speed Weeks and these Daytona races, but he's got a good opportunity here tonight, and he's kept that car looking real good, and it looks fast.
Yeah, Josh Personette has had his share of heartbreak this week. Really been up front in both series and just could not get there at the end, but Josh Personette showing his strength here tonight at Daytona. But 19 laps to go. Wyatt, our current race leader, Casey Hatch. On his outside is Brandon Key, and Daniel Martinez, Chris Wright, David Dunwoody, all right there in the top 5 as well. And just to update the rest of the top 10 here, Trey Eidson, Brent Jones, Joey Chapman, Hunter Smith, and Josh Personette. And another guy just outside the top 10 that we haven't talked about at all tonight. We see him in the 035 on that car. That is Joe Francis. We haven't really seen much of him. I believe this is his second race of the season, but he's out here trying to get some track time in the ARCA series and in Elite, and try to earn a little bit of respect out here and gain some skills, which we're seeing out of a lot of these guys tonight.
Yeah, and we weren't sure how this race was going to go. It's really turning out to be a great drive from all these drivers involved. And, you know, we saw a little switch in lanes there. I believe that was Joey Chapman actually jumped to the bottom and lost the top side. Quite a lot of momentum. It looked like about a lap ago, Brandon Key was almost clear of Casey Hatch.
Yeah, as we see Joey Chapman currently running in the 5th position. He is the 3rd car on the bottom. On the bottom lane, you see Hatch, Wright, and then Chapman on the high side. You see Key, Martinez, and Jones. So any sort of subtle lane change or major lane change can really upset the balance of the lane. You see the high side getting a little bit of a run now that they're all reset. You see Key trying to do whatever he can to get alongside Casey Hatch, currently running side by side with Chris Wright. Chris Wright, another guy that has had a really strong season, finished 2nd and 5th are his only finishes this season. 2nd, 5th. He's looking for a win today, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get there. You know that.
Yeah, and especially with Ethan Stanley out of this race here, he's got a lot of room to wiggle with, and he can be a little risky now because he knows, virtually barring anything outrageous as far as losing track position or whatnot, he's going to probably have the points lead after tonight. Also, depending on where Trey Eidson finishes, but yeah, it's going to be... I think this is one of the ones where Chris is like, I don't really have anything to lose now based on the circumstances.
Yeah, one thing for Chris Wright, he was 6 points back of the race, of the points leader, Ethan Stanley, entering tonight. Of course, Stanley was parked with the 6th lap rule. He's going to finish 31st tonight, so anything that Chris Wright and Trey Eidson can get tonight is certainly a gain for them. We see a little bit of wiggling there. I believe that was Mark Murphy that may have had a little bit of a... That is not Mark Murphy.
That's Mark Rabiles.
That is the other Mark. There's multiple Marks in the field tonight, but one of the Marks just wanted to hang out on the apron just briefly. He's able to get back onto the track as we are coming to 14 laps to go here. We still see Casey Hatch and now Brandon Key battling for the race lead with help from Chris Wright and Daniel Martinez. As we see a little bit of shuffling here, Brandon Zimmerman, Mark Rabiles battling for the 15th position. Of course, it is a super speedway, so everybody is battling for every position. So we see things kind of tensing up a little bit around this 5 car. Harrison Talon looked like it got a little bit close. Just behind him, we have William White and Hunter Smith. Hopefully, these guys can keep it green with just 13 and a half laps to go towards the checkered flag. It's been a great race so far, Wyatt, and you know, has this met or exceeded your expectations coming into today's event?
Yeah, I mean, I really think it's exceeded it, and I don't think there's any question about it. For me personally, these guys have done a really good job and putting on some great racing. You know, these cars aren't the easiest to pass with. They don't get the runs in groups like some of the Major 3 Series would in stock cars. As we actually see 3 wide, oh my goodness, Brandon Key shuffled through the middle and Daniel Martinez goes to his outside. It looks like Brent Jones is going to go with him to the outside. This will be interesting to see how long, because it looks like the middle line's going to get help. Oh, and there's actually contact behind, I believe, the 94 and the 70.
Brent Jones in the wall. He is pancaked. Things are getting crazy here. Wyatt up towards the front. We still see Daniel Martinez up on the high side. He's getting shuffled back. He should be able to drop down behind William White here momentarily. That'll drop Martinez from battling for the lead to back to 12th now. So you see how quickly things can change as we come into the trial over here. 12 laps to go in the Pit Pass Network ARCA Series Daytona 200. Current race leader Casey Hatch battling with Joey Chapman. Just behind them, Chris Wright remains the pusher on the bottom there. with Brandon Key and Josh Personette on the high side. One thing I want to point out, though, right now here at Wyatt, and I don't know if you've noticed this. Joey Chapman on the high side, as we'll actually go up to our chopper view here. Joey Chapman on the high side. Just behind him, Brandon Key. Just behind him, Josh Personette. Those three, they're Mountain Man Motorsports teammates working together. So they are set up perfectly as we come to 11 laps to go. And actually right behind them as well, Harrison Talon, a great affiliate of theirs, driving for Fueled Up Racing. He was in an incident earlier. He's battled back, currently running in the 8th spot. So great recovery from Talon, but the battle's on for the race lead. You see a little bit of an arrow push there from Key onto the back of Chapman. Chapman side by side with Casey Hatch. Key now coming up alongside the Hatch machine. We'll see if Chapman drops down in front of Hatch once he clears. He is not clear at this point as these guys come through turn 3 and 4, coming to 10 laps to go. This is about to pick up. This is about to get crazy, and in 10 laps, we're going to see who is the 4th winner of the season. It's getting a little crazy out here as we see a wreck. Hunter Smith and a bunch of cars. Dylan Thomas comes back up into Michael Goodman. Looks like a caution may have just been thrown there.
Yes.
So you see Justin Sumner a little bit broken. Brent Jones, Brandon Ultra, Rory Collins. These guys I think may have avoided it, but wow, things just picked up right there.
Yeah, I think this is going to set up for an incredible finish too with this restart just under probably about 7 laps to go. As we see here, you know, where does this start? I believe it's around Harrison Talon, Hunter Smith, and William White. William White actually just goes really low out of the tri-oval. It looks like the 017 actually came up a little bit, but man, that was a weird situation.
Looks like multiple incidents may have developed here as we see that 88 of Craig Arvanites on the high side outside of Michael Goodman. Just ahead of them, that initial wreck is underway as we see these guys kind of shuffling through. Looks like Dave Carpenter just about gets into the side of Brandon Zimmerman. Looks like Justin Sumner may have gotten into Craig Arvanites. And we just had multiple incidents there, which turned into one big wreck. Wyatt, we are less than 10 laps to go. Things are getting a little crazy here at the Daytona International Speedway.
Yeah, and there's 2 things to point out here. One is, can these guys make it on fuel? I think they can, but we'll find out right here.
As they are coming up to pit road. We'll see what happens here, if anyone comes down. So far, looks like Brandon Zimmerman, the first car down pit road, potentially. I think he actually ended up staying out. Dylan Thomas did come down pit road. Here comes Thomas, Goodman, Hunter Smith, William White, Robert Smith, Mark Murphy, Jesse Rasmus, Rory Collins, and Jay Kaner. A little bit of everybody coming down pit road here, as we'll run through the top 20 on track right now. Currently, your race leader, we do see Casey Hatch in the number 05 machine out front over Joey Chapman. Just behind them, we do see the 42 of Chris Wright with the 33 of Brandon Key alongside. Just behind them in 5th, David Dunwoody in the 28th with Josh Personette in the 18 car. Trey Eidson in the 97, Harrison Talon in the 5, Daniel Martinez in the 83, and Jordan Owens in the 26, rounding out the top 10. Wyatt, why don't you take us through 11th and all the way down to 20th?
Well, it might be a little tricky because some of these guys still pitted, but my scoring here shows Joe Francis in the 11th spot, Mark Rabilis in 12th, Brandon Zimmerman 13th, David Carpenter in the 14th spot, Ray Bracey 15th, Michael Hosack in 16th, 17th, Craig Arvanites. 18th, Michael Goodman. 19th, Brent Jones. And 20th, Hunter Smith.
As we see the field now coming around, lights are off on the pace car. We're going to go green with about 6 laps to go, Wyatt. Things are getting a little crazy. I'm going to give you one last chance to change your pick for the win.
Yeah, man, that's going to be tough because, Brent Jones might have a little bit of damage. I chose him earlier in this race. I want to stick with the guy, but another one I want you to look out for here has been through it quite a bit tonight. And oddly enough, he's in a good spot right now. It's actually the 5 car of Harrison Talon. Somehow he is up there with that car who has seen better days. But you mentioned earlier, I want to just point this out. You mentioned a little cool fact about Mountain Man Motorsports. If you look at the first and second place car right now, these guys both started 36th, and Casey Hatch started 36th. Joey Chapman started 37th. They're up to first and second right now with just 7 laps to go.
Absolutely, and like I mentioned, Mountain Man 2nd, 4th, and 6th on this restart. We're going to hand it down to Barney, the flag man, to get us back underway, and then I will give you my pick for the victory here as we are back underway. Casey Hatch gets a little bit of a jump. Neither row really has the support at this point, but my pick to take the win tonight is one of these top running cars. Craig Arvanites looked up the middle back there. Looks like Joey Chapman just cleared his way to the bottom, looking for a little bit of help. Brandon Key has the help on the top with Josh Personette as they're going to go by. I'm going to go with the car currently scored in 3rd, Josh Personette. He's had an up and down week, and this guy really needs a victory. He has the skill to do it, and tonight he's going to do it. And he currently has help from your driver, Harrison Talon.
Yeah, it's insane how quick that top line can get going on these restarts. We've seen it all night. Typically, they go back and forth, but that top side, especially in the last few restarts, has really gotten great momentum, even not having the control car.
As you see on the bottom lane, we have Brandon Key with help from Joey Chapman. On the high side, it is Josh Personette with Harrison Talon. Casey Hatch there in 5th. And just on the outside there, Jordan Owens. This top 6 all has connections in some way to each other. So that's pretty cool to see that group running together so late in today's event. We are 5 laps to go. Josh Personette currently with a slight advantage. Brandon Key now gets a bit of a run. Coming to 4 to go here at Daytona. Who will it be? We'll find out shortly. Wow, what a save by Jordan Owens.
Oh, we got a crash.
That's a big one.
Oh, that's huge.
Right, the Jones involved, Mark Keeler, Joe Francis, Jay Kaner does a nice job stopping there. Wow.
I think that was everybody about 9th to 10th on back might have gotten a piece of that one.
So we're going to back this up real quick and just see what happened. Looks like it all kind of starts with Jordan Owens getting a little loose there.
I think he might have gotten some help from Chris Wright, actually.
And then it all picks up a little further back. Looks like Dave Carpenter gets down into Joe Francis. Brandon Zimmerman gets a piece. Francis comes up into Rasmus, Hasek, Ultra, Jones, Sumner, Mark Murphy. everybody that isn't the race leader, William Wyatt, Dylan Thomas, Craig Arvanites, Mark Keeler. The list
And
goes on and on.
William Wyatt almost got through that until the very end. That was definitely the big one that they thought had probably already happened.
Now, this makes things interesting, though, Wyatt, as we're going to go to a green-white checkered here. Kind of shuffles the top 10 around a little bit.
You know, the leader coming to the last restart, Casey Hatch, is now pushed back to 5th position, and we're going to see Joshua Personette and Brandon Key lead this thing to green.
The way this is going to line up, row number 1 will be Brandon Key alongside Josh Personette. Row number 2, it's going to be Joey Chapman alongside Harrison Talon. Row number 3 will be Casey Hatch and Chris Wright. Row number 4, David Dunwoody, Daniel Martinez. And row number 5, Mark Rabilis, who has magically worked his way up here late alongside Trey Eidson. So that's going to be your top 10 on this restart, as I do believe we'll be coming to 1 lap to green here. This is going to get very interesting. Of course, Key and Chapman, teammates. Personette and Talon, good friends. So we may see a bit of help there. Casey Hatch, of course, also part of the Pro Edge Fueled Up group there. So a bit of help around the Hatch machine. So it's going to be very interesting, Wyatt, to see what develops here in the last few laps. I'm getting quite excited for this one, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to be done wrecking yet, but if we are done with cautions from here on out, then, man, I think anybody in the top 10 has a chance of this thing still. I think if some of these guys in the 4th or 5th row can make a run on the top side, make it 3 wide, they might have a chance to really just build momentum, because that top side's been doing really good on these restarts.
Absolutely, as the lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car. This will be overtime attempt number 1. We do have 3 attempts here in the Pit Pass Network ARCA series, so hopefully this will be the only restart, as we will see Brandon Key and Josh Personette line up side by side here. It's going to be very interesting to see who gets the best push off of the start to get a little bit of an advantage. You don't want too much advantage, though, Wyatt, of course, as the draft can play a huge factor.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. And, you know, one guy we need to give some praise to here before this restart is actually David Dunwoody. He has stayed in the top 10 a majority of this thing, and he has done a fantastic job. Guy not necessarily known for racing a whole lot in Elite. Going up, I mean, I believe everybody in front of him has done at least 1 full season in Elite, and he's doing a fantastic job. I don't know how many friends he has out there, but he's doing a great job right now.
If he doesn't have friends on the track, he certainly has friends up in the booth. David Dunwoody doing a great job in his starts so far in the Pit Pass Network ARCA series. As we're coming out of turn number 4, we're going to get going here in just a moment. The pace car will take that sharp left-hand turn onto the pit road, and we'll hand it back down to Barney, the flagman, to get us going here. 2 laps to go here at Daytona to settle it all. Brandon Key and Josh Personette lead us here as they enter the restart zone. Green flag in the air.
And Brandon Key got an absolute great start on that. And I think Joey Chapman is right there behind him. Casey Hatch actually separated quite a bit on the bottom, but that top line's forming already, so they got to be careful. That momentum's building.
Looking at the bottom lane, there's quite a bit of breakup there between Key and Chapman, and then back to Hatch. Now everything closes back up as these guys battle off at turn number 2 down the back straightaway here. It is Josh Personette with a slight edge over, actually quite an edge over Brandon Key. We see Harrison Talon taking a look to the bottom here. Harrison Talon trying to get things done here tonight. Now he's going to have Brandon Key behind him. Chris Wright comes up to the Personette machine. Look to see if Harrison Talon jumps up to help Josh Personette, or if he stays on the bottom. White flag in the air. Next flag will end this race. It is Harrison Talon. It is Josh Personette with help from Brandon Key and Chris Wright. It'll be interesting to see who gets it done here. Look for Josh Personette to maybe jump down if he gets clear of Harrison Talon. They are side by side as we watch them head down the back straightaway.
Oh, and Harrison, oh my goodness.
Who's going to make it through? Joey Chapman, David Dunwoody.
David Dunwoody to the lead.
It's going to be a battle to the line. Mark Robilas right there as well.
And here comes Jordan Owens.
We just saw him wreck not too long ago. Is Chapman going to be able to get there?
He's going to have a run. He's going high. Side by side.
Joey Chapman side by side. Mark Robilas right there. It's going to be Joey Chapman taking the victory.
Holy cow.
Joey Chapman, David Dunwoody, and Mark Robilas here in the Pit Pass Network ARCA Series Daytona 200. What in the world just happened, Wyatt?
I think we're going to need some replays to really figure it out because, oh man, I don't know how close that was. Looks like 0.03 of a second. 3 wide, maybe 4 wide coming the checkered flag. That was absolutely incredible. But, you know, bad break for a lot of guys who didn't make it to the checkers there.
As we will back this up, just give us one moment here. We saw a lot of guys ending up in a wreck. Let us pull up the incident here that caused a major shift in the race lead. You see right there, Brandon Key just hooks the 5 Talon up into Personette. Chris Wright involved. Joey Chapman just squeaks through. And then it was a battle between Chapman, Dunwoody, and Robilas for the race lead here and the victory. Look at these guys battling their way up to the front. Down the front straightaway, David Dunwoody trying to do everything he can. He had no help there. Joey Chapman up through the middle and takes the victory tonight. What a win for Mr. Joey Chapman. He's behind the starter stand there. He's going to be so excited, and I can't wait to talk to him. Of course, you know, this one a little special in my eyes as well, Wyatt, as this would be my first victory as a team owner here in the Elite Racing League.
Well, congratulations, Robert. You know,
Josh Personette coming over to congratulate his teammate. Look at the class right there. He was so close to the victory himself, and he's going to celebrate with his teammate. That is really cool. Personette comes home 17th, but he still takes the time to go and celebrate with Joey Chapman, and you know, that definitely means a lot. Let's take a look at the results here tonight. Of course, it is Joey Chapman, your race winner here at Daytona. Always a special one when you can pick up a victory here. Chapman takes the victory. David Dunwoody comes up just short in second. Mark Robilas comes home third. Where did he come from? What a drive by him. Jordan Owens battles back from a late incident to finish fourth. Ray Bracey fifth. Mark Murphy sixth. Robert Smith seventh. Craig Arvanite's eighth. Daniel Martinez ninth. And Mark Keeler finishes 10th. So 30% of the top 10 is someone named Mark tonight. Congratulations to them. Joe Francis 11th. Trey Eidson 12th. Justin Sumner 13th. Brandon Zimmerman 14th. Chris Wright 15th. Michael Hostek 16th, Josh Personette 17th, Brent Jones 18th. I don't know what I was about to call Brent Jones there. 19th was indeed Harrison Talon, 20th Brandon Key, and the rest of the results filing through on your screen now.
Absolute insane finish too, and you know, it's crazy.
We have all 3 podium finishers standing by.
Well, we better not wait any longer.
Let's go ahead and bring up Mark Robilas, who's going to be standing by for an interview with Wyatt Knadle.
Mark Robilas, Wyatt in the booth. Can you hear me?
I got you.
Well, man, third place, right? Uh, we saw you flirt with the top 10 a lot of the night, but we didn't see you in the top 10 a whole lot. How does third place feel? Sneaking through that and being just so close to winning, but ending up third after all is said and done.
Oh man, I'm very happy with the finish. It was a crazy close finish. Getting through that last lap wreck, that really helped me out. My whole plan all night was to stay at the back, but then I noticed that it was really hard to make your way back up through the field. So I didn't. I went the last 70. The first pit stop on lap 26, I think it was. Is I took tires, but I didn't take tires the rest of the race. So the car was really tight. It was hard to drive, but yeah, that was a crazy fun finish. I thought for a second I had it, and then I'm like, wow, 3 wide finish, and then I watched the replay, and it was actually 4 wide. So it was really incredible stuff.
Yeah, that was an absolute insane finish. And, I don't know how many positions you gained there on that last lap, but, going into turn three after you guys avoided that, you had a heck of a run, and you actually decided to get back behind Joey Chapman. Do you think by you doing that gave him the win, or do you think that if you stayed or got to his outside that you would have ended up winning this thing?
No, I definitely thought about going up high, but I just didn't feel I had the momentum. I thought it would stall out on me, so I figured I'd wait till off of turn 4 to try and make a move.
And you did a fantastic job. Kind of a quiet third place with an amazing ending. Congratulations, by the way. I'm going to pass you over to Robert, and we'll get you finished up.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mark, you were a last-minute entry into the series tonight. I sent you an invite like halfway through practice, coming home with a podium finish. How good does that feel?
Oh, it's awesome. I've been having a lot of good fortune recently in league races, so to continue it with such a tight race, it was a really good field of drivers. I was expecting a lot more corners than there actually ended up being, so it was good stuff, real fun. My heart rate's still up.
I can only imagine. It was exciting for us up here in the booth as well. Just before we do let you go tonight, who do you want to give a shout out to?
My teammate Michael Hossack, him and I work together a lot. He's a good teammate. We have a lot of fun racing together. He was running pretty decently, but he ended up getting caught up in those last couple wrecks. So sucks for him. And thanks for Elite for having this league, man. I really love racing with these guys.
And we hope to see you back in the next race at Richmond here next week. Congratulations, Mark Rubilis, our third place finisher tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Wyatt, that was Mark Rubilis. What a drive by him. This next guy we're going to bring in, we talked about him late. He ran really well tonight, and it's going to be David Dunwoody standing by with Wyatt Knadle.
David Dunwoody, Wyatt, in the booth. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, what's going on, Wyatt?
Man, you ran a heck of a race. You led a couple laps tonight. You were in the top 5, top 10 most of the race. To bring it home second after that chaos on the backstretch on the final lap, how does that feel?
I'm still shaking. I know I had a shot at it, but I knew Joey had a run coming. Just for the C's to park down the back straightaway and me to hit the apron, I didn't know if it was going to be a legal move or not, but I just went where they weren't.
And you did a fantastic job. You were leading there going into turn 3. It looks like Mark Rubilis actually got behind Joey Chapman there in 3 and 4, and I think it gave him just enough momentum to get to your outside. Man, you were 300ths off. Is there anything else you could have done there in that moment to, potentially get you the win?
I mean, I guess I could have hit him, but I don't want to race like that. I'm not into that kind of stuff. I would rather run 1-2 than run like 15th and 16th, reckon.
Second, I finished second on Sunday night in the truck series. I was shaking as well. It's quite the moment, but you're pretty darn new to Elite. I think this is your second ARCA race with us. I may be wrong there, but what can we expect out of you in the future? Do you plan on racing in the upper series of Elite, or is it ARCA only for you?
So I've run a couple races. I've started with this season. This is my first season here, just trying it out. I'm probably going to run some upper stuff. I kind of run with Mark Murphy a lot. He's kind of my buddy. So I'm hoping, yeah, we can keep going, race some upper echelon stuff. I'm paid in to race tomorrow night, so
It's going to be one heck of a night tomorrow night trying to qualify in and the duels, of course. But, David, before we let you go tonight after your great finish here at Daytona, is there anyone you want to give a shout-out to?
I'm going to shout out myself with Black Magic Studios, Manus Auto on the Hood. They're a couple buddies from the local area. Mark Murphy for just being a buddy in the chat all night, and for Joey Chapman for racing me clean.
Absolutely. Congratulations on the runner-up finish tonight, David, and best of luck tomorrow night in Daytona 500 qualifying.
Thank you. Have a good night.
That was David Dunwoody, our runner-up tonight. And this next guy, I've already had a chance to briefly speak with him after the race tonight. He is pumped, Wyatt. It is our race winner, Joey Chapman, standing by for an interview with you.
Joey Chapman, Wyatt in the booth. Can you hear me all right?
Absolutely. How are you guys?
Oh, man, we're doing fantastic. We just watched one heck of a finish, and you happened to get through the chaos in the final lap, get yourself in a position to build momentum and fight your way to a win here tonight. How does that feel?
I mean, it feels great. You know, this was kind of a last second deal we put together today just to wanted to get into this race, get a good feel for just running super speedways again. As much of it is luck, you know, you gotta get out there and you've really got to log laps and know how to take runs and what not to do. And I messed up at the beginning of the race, and on the first pit stop, I didn't see my pit stall at all, and then ended up, you know, running towards the lead, running second there for a while, and just kind of bided my time, made it through all the wrecks, and then on the last lap, I was running behind Brandon Key, and, you know, the Mountain Man Motorsports guys, we were all just trying to work together and make sure that one of us would win it, and then I just saw chaos break loose in front of me, and, you know, as you do in ARCA, I didn't even think about braking when I saw that wreck happen. I just stayed in it, turned to the left a little bit, and hoped I would get through, and was hoping I would just either the caution flag would come out or something like that. But when I knew I had to race the 28, just kind of backed up a little bit in the corner to the 99, got the run out of turn 4, and was just praying that there wouldn't be a bad block or something like that. And I didn't even know we were 4 wide. I was just screaming, I think I've won the race.
You did a masterful job there at the end, but I want to bring it back to the beginning of the race. You know, you started 37th and you end up winning. Talk to us about how you were able to get through the field throughout that race before that pit stop error and what you were seeing.
Well, a lot of it is just, it's all about patience with these cars, especially. You get really good runs, but, you know, the guys tonight were a little bit squirrely, so it was really hard to try to take it 3 wide. So really, it just became a matter of being able to see ahead of what line was getting the run, and just if you saw a hole, try to jump in there. And sometimes I made the right moves. I would say I made wrong moves, but I don't think you make wrong moves and win the race. But no, it was just a matter of just staying patient before that pit stop and hoping that the wreck didn't happen in front of you. And I had one after that happened right in my rearview mirror. But it really just comes down to making sure you're taking your runs right, and if you see a line is prevailing, mostly just try to find a hole and get in it, even if you fall back a few positions. It's such a momentum thing at super speedways, and I got really nervous on the first green white checker or the restart before the last one, because I restarted second, jumped out ahead of the inside line, and I immediately decided that I was going to jump down, and I just saw immediately that there was no help there, so that was the wrong move. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm just really happy. Just glad to. This is my first race running to Twisted Willow Barbershop as the primary partner. You know, them Country Boy Brewing. I can't wait to tell everybody about the win tonight. And this is Elite Win number 1, and you know, there's a lot of ways to get your first win, and to do it with no damage on your car and then a 4 wide photo finish. I mean, you can't ask for more than that.
You absolutely cannot, man, and congratulations. Before we finish you up here, I'm going to pass you over to Robert, but congrats on tonight's win. Well earned. You led 5 laps tonight. Most importantly, the last one. And over to you, Robert.
That's all you got to do, man. What about that, team owner?
Absolutely, Joey. We got it done. First win for you. First win for the team. It's been a great couple weeks for you. You finished on the podium over in the Clash tonight. You pick up your first ever victory. This is the first win for Mountain Man Motorsports here. First win for Joey Chapman. That's pretty darn cool. Also picked up a new job this week. So what a week for you. And then tomorrow night we'll just go get the pole too, or what?
I'm trying not to use up all my luck before the 500 because, there's so many races within the race at the 500. And that's why I was in this tonight because, you think that just running an ARCA race wouldn't really mean much, but there really just is something about getting back out there at these super speedway tracks and just refamiliarizing yourself with taking runs, staying off guys' bumpers at the right time. Because, tomorrow night we're going to go racing for 60 laps in whichever duel that we're in. And, I know we're more focused on making sure that everybody at the team is going to be able to transfer through to the 500. But it really is just all about refamiliarizing yourself with racing with these guys. And, I haven't raced a super speedway in a while, so it just felt really good to get back out there and avoid all the carnage. And like I said, it's I don't want to use up all my luck before the Daytona 500. I've snuck into second place at the Clash and then first place here, so I'm batting a pretty good clip right now. And I don't want to risk losing that. But I was very content with either Brandon or Josh winning the race because I just wanted to see somebody on the team bring it home. But as soon as I saw everybody start going every which way on the back straightaway, I just said, well, to hell with it. Just stay in the gas and see if you can win it.
And win it you did, Joey. Just before we let you go tonight, is there anyone else you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, no, like I said, Aaron Hughes at Twisted Willow Barbershop, he just thinks this is the coolest stuff ever. And awesome master barber. So if you are even in the state of Kentucky, you have to make your way down to Berea and get your hair cut by him. It's not just a haircut, it's a work of art. Country Boy Brewing, obviously, best beer in Kentucky. I think the best craft beer around. If you can find it in your gas station, a local store, grab a Cougar Bait, Shotgun Wedding, whatever, you name it. Flat Out Racing Network, the guys there have always really supported me from the time that I first got on here and through a lot of other stuff. So really thankful for those guys. Obviously, you, man, for welcoming me on to the team as Sky went away from Elite and decided to go pursue other series. And, this is really where I wanted to stay and really hone in on everything. So I appreciate you welcoming me on to the team. And I mean, just everybody tonight. Cam, obviously, he got caught up in a wreck in about midway through the race, and he wasn't able to finish it. But Josh and Brandon, we all just worked together really well there at the end and communicating, especially with JP. I mean, we were just trying to make sure that we were going to do whatever it took for one of us to get it. So just got to thank everybody there. And, I know this is just sim racing, but it does mean a lot to finally get the first win, get the monkey off the back, and talk about taking a little bit of confidence into the rest of the season. This is something that, I don't want to overlook, but this is only the beginning.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a great season ahead for you, Joey. Congratulations on victory number 1, and we'll see you tomorrow night right back here at Daytona for Daytona 500 qualifying.
Appreciate it, y'all. Let's get it done.
Absolutely. Wyatt, that was our winner tonight, Joey Chapman. First victory in Elite Racing League competition. What a drive at the end of that thing to work his way through that wreck and get his way up to the front.
Yeah, he did a phenomenal job. And, we saw him stay out there. We weren't too sure why. We ended up finding out he missed his pit box. It worked out for him, man. Like he said, there's some bad moves you think you take, but you still end up winning a race. And so is it really a bad move? He did a great job. And, David Dunwoody and Mark Rabilas, too, getting through that incident. Let's talk about Jordan Owens for a second as well. 4th place tonight. A fantastic job. Flirted with the top 10. Got involved in an incident late, I believe, and was still able to battle back to 4th is incredible.
Absolutely. Jordan Owens nearly wrecked out of the thing just a few laps prior and finds his way home in the 4th spot. Ray Bracey as well, picking up a top 5. He's been fantastic. And of course, that paint scheme, absolutely stunning as well. So congratulations to the top 5 and everybody here that finished this race. It was a great one to watch, and I can't wait for the rest of Speed Week's Wyatt duels tomorrow with qualifying, and then of course next week the Daytona 500.
Yeah, and I'm personally excited for it. You know, I get to go back. Had a chance at it late last year, ended up not working in my favor, so I'm ready to get back to it and see if I got a shot at this thing along with you and a lot of guys we saw in the race here tonight.
Absolutely, but that'll do it for us here tonight. Joey Chapman picking up the victory in the Pit Pass Network ARCA Series Daytona 200. Got to thank all of our premier partners, of course, TA Services, Blue Egg Marketing, and Worldwide Technology Raceway, as well as our series sponsor, Pit Pass Network, our replay sponsor, Mark J. Rabilas Photography, and, of course, everyone here at Elite and all of you watching at home. This has been a production of the Elite Racing Network. My name is Robert Hill Jr., and joining me as always was Wyatt Knadle. We'll see you right back here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Time,